Alrighty, what's up, y'all? We are back, and we're gonna change it up a little bit. We got a little friendly, or I should say, brotherly debate. So I'll start with my stance. Usually we go, by the Bible, and we go verse for verse. Kind of breaking down interpretations on what these passages mean. But today we're gonna kind of actually have a real conversation. So people can get an understanding of, real life conversations between Christians and real life conversations that people have in real life. So today we're going to be debating about, is certain holidays that Christians celebrate, is it biblical or is it not biblical? Is it pagan or is it not paganism? And I'll say my stance is, I believe that certain holidays, like Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, it's not pagan. So that's what I'm going to be arguing today, that the holidays we celebrate as Christians is not pagan.
So say them holidays one more time. You said Easter,
Christmas. Yeah, I got Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Halloween. If you want to add Halloween in there. Halloween, I'm kind of more like, I don't really care for, but I can still, debate if that's pagan or not. But Halloween, I really don't really care for. I don't celebrate Halloween, but the three main ones: Christmas, Easter, and Thanksgiving. Halloween, I don't care for.
Okay. Them are not pagan to you. Gotcha.
Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Easter, not pagan.
Gotcha. No. And why do you say that? Let's hear your.
Now, first you gotta tell people where you stand.
Oh, I'm I think every holiday, almost every holiday pagan. Almost all of them are pagan in my eyes. Don't mean don't celebrate them, but I'll get into that once.
But if he's saying it's pagan, that means don't celebrate them.
Don't celebrate them, but there's ways you can. There's ways you can do it in a godly way.
Yeah.
There's ways you can still throw Jesus in there, make Jesus the center of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I believe, and I think it's in the Bible too. God can turn anything evil into good.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it. And I was once the same way. I was celebrating the Christmases and the Easters and the Thanksgivings just like
everybody
the next man, yeah, like it was. Now it's a little different these days, but let me hear your stance.
Hey, I ain't even gonna lie to you. If I go first, you might not even want to say your points.
Okay.
I'm about to hit you with, you're gonna have to reconsider. So if I go first, I'm telling you, you might put your notes down.
Okay, all right. Before you go, I want to ask you this.
Okay.
Why, or do you think, where does the word holidays come from?
Where does the word holidays come from?
Right. What is holidays to you? What does that mean to you?
So holidays to me is like a gathering. So like what they say biblically is connovation. That's what a holiday is to me. A holiday to me is a gathering. So in the Bible they describe it as a holy connovation, meaning they get together. So you have typically big groups of people or family that get together in a connovation. That's how I describe holiday for me. Holiday is a connovation.
Yeah, I wanted to get that definition down before we started getting into it.
So just so kind of you can see what I'm talking about. Connovation, a large formal assembly of people the act of calling people together for a large formal assembly.
Mm.
That's how I describe holiday.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, Chris?
What up, bro? I see holidays as holy days. You know how they
Mhm.
describe the holy days in the Bible as the same things you would say. What was the word? Conservation. Basically, a gathering. You know, what is it? Connovation.
Yeah, convocation.
Convocation. It's a
Yep,
gathering.
yep, got it.
That's how. That's what holy days was, and it's
Mhm.
now what I would say perversed into holidays, where we took holy days and, in my opinion, made them pagan and turned them into holidays. We changed the I and the Y from holy to holidays.
So what does holiday mean though?
Same thing. That's what I feel the same. The connovation is a gathering. I feel like it's a gathering where people meet and talk. And I don't know what it was back in the day. In my definition, right? I think holidays today would be a gathering of some sort when you get together and do whatever tradition you guys are doing that day. If it's Thanksgiving, if it's to April Fools, to you know what I'm saying. I don't really. Should we look up the word holidays?
That's why I was waiting for it. I
Let's
got
just
it
look
pulled
it
up.
up
So
because yeah.
holiday is a day of festivity or recreation when no work is done.
Okay.
That's what holiday is. So basically, a holiday is a recreation when no work is done, meaning no one does what in the Bible describes as customary.
Mhm.
Meaning, customary back then would mean like basically they were accustomed to doing daily chores, daily work, whether that was to work in the field or whether that was to sew or whether that was to carpenter, any of these type of jobs. So customary, even in the Bible, it says on these days you do not do work because that is customary. So no one goes to work on these congregation days or these holidays.
Yeah.
That's what the word means. No work.
Yeah. Hmm. Look up holy days.
Holy days. Holy days, a day on which a religious observance is held.
Observance. Is that what that is?
Hmm.
Day on which a religious observance is held. Okay. That's different from what holiday is. They saying holiday is no work. Nobody goes to work. Everybody sit around and do whatever that holiday is. Holy
Uh-huh.
day is saying we have this. Did they use the word religious?
What, in holy days?
Yeah,
Yeah, it did. It said on a day which a religious
that's crazy because
observance is held.
it's talking about a specific tradition. It could be, like they were celebrating Christmas. It's that specific. It's you see how it's different from holidays. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not.
Uh, Me personally, the only difference I see is if you are claiming a god or not. That's the only difference. I mean, because the words are all very similar, but the only difference I see is it's about who is the god you're serving. So, for example, if you're serving Buddha in Buddhism, it don't matter what holy day you're serving, it's not real. So if you have a gathering, you know, or you don't go to work on this certain day because of your Buddhist religion, is that still real?
But it didn't use the word religion. It just said you're not going to work on this day. Whereas holy day is describing a specific tradition or religion that we're observing.
Let me pull this up real quick so we can look at this real quick. Let me show you. Okay, let me scroll down. So just for, I read personally, I read the New King James Version.
Mhm.
This is Leviticus. It says right here, on the first day there shall be a holy congregation, and you shall do no customary work on it. So he's talking about two things. One, they're talking about a holy day, but also he says here, you shall do no customary work on it, meaning he's calling for them not to work.
Well, that's the same thing as the Sabbath. Would you call the Sabbath a holy day or a holiday? Because it tells you you're not supposed to work in the Old Testament. Do not work on that day. Do not go in your field that day. Do absolutely nothing on that day. Would you call that a holy day or a holiday? Or because they're both saying the same thing. One is saying religion, one is saying the holy observance that we're, you know what I'm saying?
I'm actually glad you brought up the Sabbath.
Mm.
The
We're
reason
definitely getting to the Sabbath, sure.
I'm glad you brought that up because that helps my case actually. The Sabbath, because the Sabbath, as we know in the Bible, in the Old Testament, the Sabbath was meant not to work, but clearly Jesus came in the flesh and he defied the laws of the Sabbath, and he said, "My Father works on the Sabbath, so will I."
Right.
The Sabbath was not made for man. I mean, sorry, the Sabbath was man was not made for Sabbath. Sabbath was made for man. Meaning, if man chooses to work on the Sabbath, who are you to try to stone him for it?
Right. So are we talking about, see, there's a difference, because are we talking about the Old Testament when they was installing and saying the holy days, when they was observing holy days like the Feast of Tabernacle and the Feast of Unleavened Bread and the Passover, you know what I'm saying? Is what up, John? What up, Sam? Are we talking about the Old Testament? Are we talking about after Jesus came on the scene? Because I agree with you. Sabbath is the rest. Like Jesus is our rest. You know what I'm saying? So he fulfilled the Sabbath in a way we don't have to
anymore
do what we was doing in the Old Testament.
Exactly.
So I agree with you there, but it depends.
But your question was, is Sabbath a holy day? That was your question.
I said, could we say the same thing for the Sabbath? Because it says also to rest, do no work, describing a holiday. But the holy day is saying a religious thing that we're partaking in.
So the question is celebrating the Sabbath or not celebrating the Sabbath right or wrong? That's the question.
Or is the Sabbath a holy day or a holiday?
If you don't celebrate the Sabbath, are you a pagan?
If you don't celebrate the Sabbath, are you a pagan?
Yeah, that's the question.
Are we talking about today's day? Are we talking about
today's
when we were supposed to do the Sabbath before Jesus came on the scene? Because holy days is different from holidays. Nobody says holy days anymore.
Exactly. So we have to be talking about today, because Jesus already came. Therefore, he already fulfilled what needed to be fulfilled. So therefore, we can only talk about in the New Testament, in the new covenant. That's the only way we can technically talk about it, because if that's the case, then we should all go back to getting stoned if we commit certain crimes, and we all know we're not doing that. So obviously, we would have to say that we're talking about today. Therefore, is celebrating the Sabbath, not celebrating the Sabbath today, pagan?
No.
Why not? It was a sacred day.
You talking about was? We're talking about now, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying it was a sacred day.
Right. But now Jesus came and fulfilled it. He came and told us, give him he's our rest. You know, so we don't have to do the laws he fulfilled.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So now I'm gonna flip it. You said we don't have to technically celebrate the Sabbath because our Sabbath is with Christ, right?
Right.
Now let's flip it. Today, if you do celebrate the Sabbath, are you a pagan? Why not? If Jesus said you could work on the Sabbath, basically, if you work on the Sabbath, you do. If you don't, you don't. So if you work on the Sabbath, when Jesus worked on the Sabbath, but people still celebrate the Sabbath and say, well, forget what Jesus said. He said he can work on the Sabbath, but I'm still not. So are you a pagan for technically doing the opposite of what he did when he worked on the Sabbath, and then you choose to not work on the Sabbath? Are you a pagan?
No, because that's like saying we can't eat certain foods that God said was clean.
Exactly.
So if we're talking about specific things in the Bible that Jesus said were good and bad, he didn't say holidays. You know, he said specific things. He also didn't say birthdays. He didn't say Christmas. But how we use that, how we perversed it, how Satan got under that and twisted it, making holy days into holidays and taking all that away from Jesus, that's where the problem lies.
See, I disagree though. I disagree. And the reason I disagree is because what you're basically kind of saying, correct me if I'm wrong, this is what I heard. What you're basically kind of saying is technically Christmas isn't wrong, but because we perverted it, it's wrong. That's what it sounds like you're saying, right?
That's what I'm saying.
So then,
no, go ahead.
So then, if you're saying that, technically, then you do agree with me. You just don't agree with the way it's being done. You're not technically saying that Christmas is pagan. You're saying the way that people idolize Christmas today is the paganism, right?
Correct.
Like, so Christmas ain't pagan.
So all right, let's stay on Christmas, but then I'm gonna switch it on to another holiday. So
yeah, my we can go to Christmas first because my nail in the coffin is gonna be Easter.
Okay.
That's gonna be my nail in the coffin. When I go through Easter, I'm telling you, by the time we're done with this, you're gonna switch.
Hey, I'm always up for. My mind is never set. You know what I'm saying? Like I like somebody to push me and challenge what I think. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think I'm always right. You know what I'm saying? I know.
That's why I want to do this, because I want each other. I want you to bring something where I'm like, I gotta think.
Right.
You know, same thing, vice versa. I want us to be able to think.
Right. So when I started with this and I said, I think almost every holiday is pagan because of how Satan perversed it. That's why I think it's pagan, because Jesus is not in it anymore. Because how it probably started was in a pagan, like Christmas. Christmas started by some, man, it was long time ago, long time ago, where some pagans was celebrating the winter solstice in December. the old church was trying to convert them into finding Jesus, into seeking Jesus. So they used their winter solstice holiday and turned it into Christmas. Tried to bring Jesus in it, tried to show them this way of life by bringing God in it, and to open their eyes, open their hearts into something different, get away from the pagan stuff. So it started as a pagan tradition. It started as a pagan ritual. It started unholy. A church tried to bring them in, trying to convert them. I'm not sure if it worked or not, but years later, you probably know this theologian Martin Luther. He came in and tried to keep it Jesus bound. He tried to keep it in a holy way, the Christmas, because the Catholics were doing it. There was also going into a pay. Now, if you can look this up for me, so I'm not wrong, because I'm just really just off the top of the head. Do you see anything about pagan winter solstice, um, Christmas, or it being converted into Christmas?
Yeah, it says here around December 21st in the northern hemisphere, as the rebirth of the sun and the return of light, it honors the longest night of the year with the themes of renewal. So yeah, this is, and it's considered a pagan festival,
Pagan festival.
celebrating the winter solstice. Yes.
Okay.
Known as Yule.
All right. Now go down a little bit. Does it say anything else?
Yeah, it talks about decorations, talks about fire and light, candles, bonfires, feasting and gatherings, the wheel of the year.
So
Yeah, right here. Yule is an ancient pagan winter solstice festival that is typically celebrated around December 21st through December 22nd in the northern hemisphere. And they're honoring the rebirth of the sun god. They feast and decorate with evergreens. Yeah, I see it right here. Pagan winter solstice. That's what you're talking about, right?
yeah. So the Martin Luther guy, he tried to convert it back into Jesus.
He said, right, we never too old to learn. Oh, you talking about what you said. Chris said, hey, also call it Jesus' birthday, and that also is untrue. Yeah. Christmas being Jesus' birthday is not, obviously, that's not true.
Sure.
Well, I'm going to give you, boy. Just wait. Let Mike finish first.
But
This dude must be a Muslim. He said, Allah Akbar. God is great. Jesus Christ is king. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, what were you saying?
but nah, the Martin Luther guy, he was trying to bring. Yeah, look him up.
Martin Luther. What was he living around? What time period?
1400s, 1500s.
Yeah, it says Martin Luther. Right here. Let's bring it up. Martin Luther, he was born 1483 to 1546, was a German theologian and a pivotal figure in the Protestant Reformation, challenging the Catholic Church practices like the indulgences with his 93 theses in advocating salvation by faith alone in the translating the Bible into German and fundamentally shaping modern Christianity in the Western. That's Martin Luther.
That guy was trying to keep I don't like the word religion. He was bringing God into these pagans' lives. Over time, after Martin Luther, we stopped following that trend he started. So he was bringing up Christmas trees and candles and gift giving, but he wasn't doing it in the way we do today. So he started. Over the years, it started to a market strategy where it's just. Can you hear? I hear an echo.
No, I can hear you.
Oh. It was just it was a market strategy over time where it's only about money now. We're not talking about Jesus. There's nobody sitting around coming together on this holiday where everybody's off. Nobody's coming together, reading the Bible, talking about Jesus, thanking Jesus, thanking themselves. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I feel Christian has became pagan a little bit. I can hear echo, bro. You don't hear that?
I don't hear it. It's probably some. If you can hear it on your end, I can't hear it. It's probably maybe you gotta restructure your mic or something, maybe. Cause I can't hear no echo. You're not echoing on my end.
Let me see. Hold on.
On my end, it sounds fine to me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Oh yeah, he said. Chris said it's a small echo. It might be on Mike's end. He said if you're watching live at the same time, mute one of them. Are you watching a live and streaming at the same time? No. Okay. Well, while you talk, I'll mute myself.
Let me see if that. Yo. You can hear me though, right? Yeah. Okay. I don't hear the echo no more. All right. But no, that's all I was saying. Just on the Christmas thing. We staying here on Christmas right now. How now it's more pagan than it wanted to be. And I see pagan as anything that's not of God. That's what we should. Let me get a definition of pagan.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Maybe my speakers was too loud. I'm your audio. I have you on my speakers, so maybe I have my speakers up too loud.
Yo.
Is it still echoing?
A little. It's smaller. You know. No, I can hear it. No, I can still hear it.
You can still hear it? Oh, then that's not my speakers then. Let me try this.
How about now?
Yo. I think it's good.
All right, babe. I switched my mic. It's my cause I got a wireless mic, so I switched the way it's inputting.
I see.
That's probably what it was. Cause I had it on default instead of the mic specific. It's not echoing no more though, right?
No, I don't hear nothing.
Okay, bet. Okay. All right.
Let's
So
let's look up the word pagan real quick. What's your definition of pagan? And then let me, because that's what I believe. Anything that's not of God.
okay, definition of pagan. Pagan definition. Pagan, especially in historical context, a person holding religious beliefs other than those of the main or recognized religions. I don't know. If I'm being honest, I think Google got this wrong. If I'm
Yeah,
being honest.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't agree with this. It's like when you look up on Google and they say what is a man or what is a woman, they give you some crappy answer. That's how I
Yeah.
feel about this because we know what pagan means. Pagan means we don't need Google. Pagan, what pagan really means is anyone who's not following the true God, which is God the Father, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit, who exists as three persons. That's one God.
Yeah.
That's what a pagan. If you don't follow that God, anything outside of that is considered a pagan. That's just what it is. So basically, what this is saying is a pagan is somebody who worship anything other than the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit.
Question. Because by that definition, would you agree that Christmas has turned pagan?
Well, I'll agree that Christmas has turned pagan. Nope, and I can show you why.
Who is Santa Claus?
I can say this. I'll be honest. I'll say this. Christmas can be pagan. Christmas can be idolatry. But if we're going based off of that, anything can.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's
Almost,
so.
yeah.
If we're going based off of that, though, then that means don't hang up no pictures in your house. That means don't put up no pictures of you and your family in your house. That means don't get tattoos. That means don't have anything outside of that. But we know that this is an exaggeration. So if we're going based off of that, then we would know nobody need to put up no statues in their house, no vases, no nothing. If we're going based off of that logic.
So are you saying how you celebrate, how you keep pictures, put up pictures in your home defines if it's pagan or not?
No, I'm saying if you're going based off of that definition of what you're saying, if you're saying the way celebrating Christmas is pagan because they're doing certain stuff, I'm saying it can be because if it's idolatry, then that is paganism.
No. This new world that we're living in,
Yeah.
this generation of people and the structure, the tradition, all in one.
Yeah.
Has it turned pagan?
Yeah, but see, the reason I can't say that is because I'm not talking about the world. What we're talking about, me and you, we are both agreeing on the core. You're a Christian, I'm a Christian. You don't celebrate Christmas, I do. So what we're really talking about is Christians celebrating Christmas pagan. That's what we're talking about, not the world.
So
because if they don't believe in Christ, they ain't got nothing to do with this conversation. We talking about if Christians who follow Christ celebrate Christmas, is this pagan? That's what we're really talking about, right?
How many people you know, and you know they're not really following God, but they call themselves Christians? Are we talking about those people? Or are we just talking about me and you? Because I'm talking about the people that say they're Christians, the people that say they believe, the people that confess with their mouth. What you're celebrating, these traditions you're keeping are pagan.
But how? Why? What is giving gifts pagan?
Santa Claus,
No.
Rudolph.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the tradition of Christmas, gift giving. Is that pagan?
Of course not.
Is feasting pagan? Is gathering with friends and family pagan?
Nope.
This is what I'm talking about. What you're talking about is what can make it pagan, not that it is. Because when you say it is pagan, you're giving a definite, a fact. So when I say, for example, only a man can give his seed and only a woman with a womb can give birth. This is a fact. There's no or if this or if that. Fact is, only a woman can give birth to a child, right? So this is objective. But when you say objectively that Christmas is pagan, you're saying there cannot be another way, which that is what I disagree with, because there is in fact a way that you can celebrate Christmas without it being pagan, but there also is a way you can celebrate Christmas with it being pagan or idolatry.
And
So if you take,
that's where I'm talking about. Like,
yeah, but
how
you
can you
can't say
say
it's definite though.
no, I'm not saying that. You using these three examples, the gift giving, eating together, and gathering together. So we're using different examples and saying that is and what is not.
Mhm.
I'm saying the Santa Claus, the Rudolphs, the Christmas songs, the thing that ain't about we're not coming together as Christians giving gifts and opening up the Bible. We're not coming together, having a meal, praying, talking about Jesus, reading about God. That's where you can't call Christmas a thing from God or a holy day, because they perversed it. And when I say they, I mean Satan
Mhm.
perversed it into something that you want to call Christ-like, but it's not. That's where the pagan come in, because you're telling me that it's Christmas and it's on Jesus' birthday, like it's Christ-like, and we should all be gathering today. And if that's the case, we should be gathering today and celebrating Christ, not giving each other gifts.
So let me ask this then. If I were to gather family up, right? And I'll use me as an example, right?
Mm.
So this is the way I do it. For us, my daughter knows there is no Santa Claus. She knows this. When she opens up her gifts, she opens her gifts and she says, "Thank you, Jesus."
Mm.
We tell her the money that we use to buy the gifts for you, though that money came from the power of Christ. This is what we teach her. We teach her the gifts were bought by money from mommy and dada, who Christ, Father, and Holy Spirit provided us the money to be able to give you this. So don't thank us, thank Christ that He provided us money to be able to buy you these gifts. So when she opens up her gifts, she says, "Thank you, Jesus."
Yeah.
This is what she says. So what I'm saying is, for me as a Christian who celebrates Christmas, I purposely make sure that the thanks is given to Christ, because that's what it's about.
That's beautiful. That's exactly what it's about. But who's doing that? What other Christian you know? What other little girl you know is opening up a present and thanking Jesus? They're thanking their mom.
Mhm.
They're thanking their dad.
Mhm.
Their mom and dad got it for them, but like you said, it was from God.
Mhm.
Nobody's thanking God. They're getting their presents and moving on.
So let me ask you this: if you get together in a celebration, but you're not you're not necessarily talking, like for example, what you said was you getting together, giving gifts and eating together, but no one's talking about Christ, right? Right?
Yeah.
I agree that this is obviously not something that should be done. But what I'm about to ask you is this: if you do celebrate a celebration together and you don't necessarily talk about Christ the whole time, is that now a pagan celebration because you're not talking about Christ? Or it's not? Actually, a better question: if the holiday isn't necessarily surrounded by Christ, is that pagan?
If you're asking me,
Mhm.
I see like the definition to me, pagan is anything that doesn't have to do with God. You asking
Well, but
me,
what does that mean? That right there, that's the part I'm wanting to know. What do you mean
mm,
by has nothing to do with God? That's the part I need to know.
just like you're saying, just like your example, if we're getting together and there's no discussion about God and Jesus, I'm not even comfortable anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even walk outside without talking to God about somebody these days. If you're asking me, I would call it pagan. If we're going out to the club,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus ain't being talked about in the club.
Well, I mean, in that case, that's more of like you would have to separate that because that's more of like what we talked about in the prodigal son. He purposely went to the outer country,
Mm,
which means he went to a pagan land to live in the world. So the club stuff like that would be considered like of the world. But what
right.
we're talking about is doing something that could be done Christ-like or not Christ-like if you're not necessarily using Christ's name.
So getting together with family. That was
Yes.
your example, right?
Yeah. So my question is this: if you are celebrating a holiday that you're not necessarily celebrating it about Christ, is that pagan?
Yes.
But what if it's rooted in God though?
What you mean rooted in God?
Rooted
Like
in
it's
God.
supposed to be, like how Christmas is supposed to be rooted in God.
Kind of. So basically, what I'm saying is, if it's rooted in God, like the purpose of the holiday is because maybe this person believes in God, and then like for example, let's say if they made a holiday, about a man who saved a few Jews and Christians, and then they made a holiday about this man.
So if we
Would that be
talking
pagan if they celebrated that man?
if celebrating a man that's not Christ,
So what I'm okay, let me ask you, let me rephrase it. If they built a holiday around a man who saved some Christians and some Jews, right? And the Jews said, "Hey, this man saved a lot of Jews and Christians, saved them from dying, saved them from persecution. Let's make a day surrounded by this event."
that would be considered a birthday. if you
No,
we
but
celebrating
it's not his birthday.
if we celebrating a man,
An event that a man event. Let's say on let's say June 5th, a man named John saved 100,000 Jews and 100,000 Christians from being persecuted, and then they decided to make a holiday around that June 10th.
pagan,
That's pagan.
pagan.
I'm glad you said that. I'm about to show you something. Have you ever heard of Judas Maccabees?
Yeah,
You know who Judas Maccabees is?
yeah. He was a disciple, wasn't
No, you're thinking about Judas Iscariot.
he? Oh, I thought both of them were
No, this
disciples in
Judas,
a later time.
this Judas that I'm speaking about, Judas Maccabees, is a couple years, about 100 some, I think it was about 165,
Jesus
167 years
died.
before Jesus.
Mm.
He came before Christ. Let me show you something.
Maccabees.
Yep, this is exactly in the second book of Maccabees. It says, "On this day, as by the time it had become necessary, Judas and his men went to take up the bodies of the fallen and bring them back to lie with their kinsmen. And under the tunic, every one of the dead, they found the sacred tokens of the idols." So, let me find it. Where's it at? Basically, so this is breaking down what Judas of Maccabees is doing. So Judas of Maccabees, just for context, Judas Maccabees was a man who lived around 170 BC. So he was before Christ. And what happened was there was a 3-year period that the Greek Empire took over Jerusalem, and they destroyed the temples, and they took over, and they even slaughtered pigs on the altar, because Jews, pigs is unclean. So the Greek when they took it over, they slaughtered pigs onto their altars, right? And so Judas of Maccabees, 3 years after they took over the temple of Jerusalem, he decided to build up a army. It was obviously smaller than the Greek Empire, but because he obviously he's with God, the Father and the Holy Spirit in Christ, he is a Jew. So they decided to go take back Jerusalem, take back the temple. And in doing so, this is how you get, guess what? First, let me show you this. This is Daniel. It says, and from that time, the daily sacrifice is taken, and the abomination of desolation is set up. There shall be 1,290 days. And this is a few hundred years. This is around 600 BC. So this is before Judas Maccabees was born. And Daniel, given a revelation through God, he tells us the exact time. He tells us how long it will be. He says 1,290 days, which is exactly 3.5 years. In Judas Maccabees, Jerusalem was under Greek Empire for exactly around 3.5 years before they took back the temple. And when they took back the temple, look at this. When they took back the temple, where did it go? Let me show you. Look, right here, look. Judas Maccabees, 166 through 160 BC, was a Jewish priest and a military leader, and his name was Maccabees, meaning the hammer, right? But look, this is the connection to Hanukkah, which Hanukkah means dedication. And guess where they got this term from? So when Judas of Maccabees took back the temple in 165 BC, right? This is how we ended up here. This is how we ended up here. Right here, look. Now, it was the Feast of Dedication in Jerusalem. This is John. This is John. So John is the New Testament. What is the Feast of Dedication?
Hanukkah.
Let's look at it. Feast of Dedication. Another name for Hanukkah. So the Feast of Dedication / Hanukkah was actually a holiday that was built around Judas of Maccabees, because he took back the temple of Jerusalem from the Greek Empire. So they made Hanukkah based off the dedication that the Jews had to getting back the temple, which God did not see as a bad thing. And how do we know this? Because it says right here, look, now it was the Feast of Dedication in Jerusalem, and it was winter. And do you know when Judas of Maccabees took back Jerusalem? Guess what? Because again, mentioned, this is 165 BC, so before Christ. Guess the date on when he took back the temple.
December
what?
21st.
Nope.
25th.
Let me show you. Give you that Bible. Where's my Daniel verse? Oh, I got it. I didn't have it in. Daniel, I know about her. Daniel 8:14. It's Daniel 8:14. Let me show you. Look, right here. Look. This took place on December 25th, 165 BC. The Jewish celebration of Hanukkah each year commemorates this victory when he took back Jerusalem. Judas of Maccabees took back Jerusalem they started to take it back December 14th, and they officially conquered it back on December 25th. So the time between December 14th and December 25th is when they had officially took back Jerusalem from the Greek Empire. And this is what Daniel was speaking about here when he was talking about the days. And this was referencing the days that how long it would take for them to not have the empire, how long it would take for them to get back the empire. And the reason that we know this is not pagan for them to celebrate Judas Maccabees for getting back the temple of Jerusalem, which belongs to God, is because we see here. Let's go back to my, what do you call it? Right here. Now it was the Feast of Dedication, which we now know is Hanukkah, in Jerusalem, and it was winter. And Jesus walked in the temple. Jesus took part of the Feast of Dedication. If Jesus thinks that this is pagan, why is he taking participation in the feast that was originally built around Judas of Maccabees, celebrating Hanukkah? That's my question.
Are we talking about what someone in the Old Testament did, or are we talking about today's celebration of what pagan is and what we think is pagan now?
No, this is New Testament. This is John.
Right. So we know Jesus celebrated Passover, Hanukkah, the Feast of Dedication, all that. We know that. So I see how you did ask me the question of, is celebrating what a man did pagan? But if we was to do that today, because we're talking about today as a Christian, right? If someone was to save 1,000 Jews from a burden, 1,000 Christians from a burning building today, and we took that and made it a holiday today, we're celebrating that guy that did that. There's a difference from Old Testament things where things had to take place, things had to evolve and get to a Hanukkah, to get to a Passover. Things had to take place as such. So when you ask me a question about today's day, but then go back to those times and ask me, is it pagan for them back then to do that? It would be pagan for someone now to do that. It wouldn't be pagan for then, because there was a time and place to do things like that. It was written by God's hands for things like that to happen.
But we're not talking about Old Testament though.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm connecting the Old Testament, what happened in the Old Testament with Maccabees and Daniel, and I'm connecting it to the New Testament, which we know is our new covenant, because he fulfilled the law. And in the book of John, John is telling us that Jesus is participating in the Feast of Dedication. This is no longer the Old Testament.
He didn't say participated.
He walked.
He said he walked in the temple.
He walked,
just like people would do the same thing as when Jesus was at the wedding. Jesus drank. He was touching wine. He had him a glass. They'll say the same thing. Just because he was at the wedding, just because he made the wine, don't mean he's a drinker. He walked in, he was in the wedding, he participated in the wedding. He didn't drink.
He what?
Okay, he put like that's not like all right.
He participated.
So I didn't mean to say participated, but he was in the wedding. You know what I'm saying? You can't say he participated in drinking too. Just because he made the wine from water.
Jesus drank wine, but doesn't mean he was a drunk. That's the difference. He never condemns drinking. He condemns being drunkard, being drunk.
Remind me. Where does it say he drank wine?
He broke with the Last Supper. He broke the bread with him and said, "This is my body."
Sip of that wine.
Exactly.
He didn't drink wine. He had a sip of wine.
Come on, dog.
Come on, bro. No, we can't.
He never says that drinking wine is wrong. He says being drunk because it impairs you.
I agree. No. I agree with that. But you'll have people today say, God drank or Jesus drank.
Because they're perverting it. That's different.
That's what you're doing.
No, I'm not. I'm using, look, right. It says,
you say he participated when he walked in the temple.
Why did he walk in?
We don't know that he participated.
Look. In Solomon's porch, then the Jews surrounded him. They're gathering. We have to understand this is ancient Judaism. He's not showing up to a feast for no reason. He's showing up to the feast because he knows what time of the year it is, which is why they say it is winter. Now in the Feast of Dedication in Jerusalem, it was winter. They're describing what is taking place at the temple. And Jesus showed up to the temple not for no reason. He knows what's going on at the temple. And it says, then the Jews surrounded him. How did they surround him? They gathered around him.
He was Jesus. He was Jesus. Of course they was going to gather around him. Remember you said that, right? Because that's going to come back to what I'm going to talk about. But I'm just going to give you a little. So I told you I don't celebrate holidays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which means I don't participate in what the holidays entail. Like, I'm not giving out gifts. I'm not cutting the turkey. I'm not putting on a Halloween mask. I'll show up. I'll walk in. My family would gather around me. But I'm not participating. I walked in. I want to be seen so I can spread that gospel, so I can share this light that I have. Now, I'm not here to celebrate, right? I'm not here to celebrate. I came to your Christmas party. I'm not here to celebrate Christmas.
So then let me ask you this, because I see what you're trying to do. Let me ask you this then. Show me in the Bible where it says Jesus participated or celebrated in the Passover. How do you know that he celebrated the Passover? Does it say Jesus celebrated Passover in that context, or does it say he showed up during Passover?
I'm not sure. We can look it up though.
Let's look it up.
I'm not even gonna act like I know.
Because we have to understand context.
We gotta read the comments too.
It's very similar to the same exact thing. This is how we know he celebrates Passover. It says, now on the first day of the feast. What did it say?
So he's about to eat. Jesus is about to eat at the Passover.
But does it say he is participating or celebrating?
It didn't say he walked in.
It's saying he's partaking by the context. The context is he's there.
It's actually saying, Jesus, you're here. You're celebrating. What do you want to eat? You're here for the unleavened bread that we're celebrating. What do you want to eat? He didn't just walk in and let me get a glass of juice. What do you want to drink? We're celebrating a specific holy day.
Let's go back real quick. We got him. It's in Mark as well. Now on the first day of the unleavened bread, when they killed the Passover lamb, his disciples said to him, "Where do you want us to go and prepare that you must eat the Passover?" But it doesn't say he showed up to the Passover. Doesn't say
he's going.
because he showed up.
Right.
Exactly, because he showed up. So when it says
there's more context in this, there's more detail in this than just I walked in. They're not saying that he participated.
No,
They're not saying
right, you gotta be honest. This is ancient. This is
yeah, for sure.
This is hardcore tradition. So when it's Passover, when it's the Feast of Tabernacles, when it's the Feast of Dedication, when people show up, it's not like today where if we decide we may go, we decide we may not. If people back then showed up to something, they weren't showing up for no reason. They just weren't there just be like, I'm here because they showed up for a reason, because they're there to participate.
You're correct. We're talking about people. Jesus was not living like people. He wasn't doing what the pagans do. He wasn't doing what the drunkards do. He was sitting with sinners. He wasn't sinning. So he walked in, like you said, this was the old days. So it was probably some things that were left out, or the way they written or wrote. I see that your example. I see that as they just saying that he showed up, like something I would do. Like today, I would just show up and not participate. That's how I seen that, because they didn't say he what is the Feast of Dedication actually like.
Yeah, it's
what do they do on the Hanukkah? Do they light candles or
they have feast? It's a feast.
So it's a feast. They didn't ask him if he wanted something to eat. They did in the Feast of Unleavened Bread.
Yeah, but I mean this is what you call it. We got different.
They could have said the same thing though.
No, because we have different. No, because we have different writers. That's like saying what John said in John has to be the same thing that Mark says in Mark. They're four different. They're four different.
But don't you think they would? Don't you think they would? Don't you think they would put down or write down what Jesus did in there, what he was doing in there? They said he walked in.
No, because it's from different perspectives. Like for example, there's one part in, when you talk about when Jesus resurrected, right? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the resurrection, they all have similar context, but the way that they describe the resurrection on who was at the temple first, on who showed up. Like for example, John says he ran fast past Peter to get to Christ when they saw he was resurrected. Why did he add in ran fast? Because that was his perspective. So when John is writing from his perspective on what he observed. If someone else wrote it like Matthew is more detailed. We can see that clearly in their writing. Matthew, the way he wrote was a lot more detailed. He was very, I would say, OCD. He wrote line by line, detail by detail, hair by hair, pen by pen. John was more straight to the point.
So are you telling me the writer who wrote that Jesus walked in
It was Matthew, and we know
Oh, it was
Matthew's more
Matthew.
detailed.
So don't you think he would say something more than he just walked in?
No, what I'm saying is, if John wrote about that, he would have probably wrote it different. Do you see what I'm saying? Because they're different writers, which is how we know.
I get that. I get that. So I'm saying you think, or you think he walked in is him participating.
Yes, and the reason is because this is tradition. Now, this would be different story if we're talking about he walked in and he said, "Hey, what are y'all doing?" Right? He's participating in he's in Jerusalem. He's in Jerusalem. He is an ethnic Jew. Jesus is an ethnic Jew. He's showing up to be a part of what the ethnic Jews do. Now, when he goes to certain places, he may say, "Hey, this is cool, but this ain't. This is cool, but this ain't. Hey, y'all need to fix this. Hey, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for Sabbath." He may start teaching while he's there. He will teach while he's there. But when Jesus is showing up, he's not showing up for no reason. He's showing up to let them know that he is a Jew, because he's the Messiah, but he's also still an ethnic Jew. Ethnically.
So he is a Jew, so participate in all the Jew holidays. You think he would participate in Christmas?
Do I think he'll participate in Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
Will he participate in Hanukkah?
Oh, snap.
Your camera went out a little bit.
You can hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What's going on? Hold on.
Hey. Did your camera die?
Ah.
While you fix your camera, I'm gonna read these comments real quick.
Go ahead.
And Kevin said, "I'm so proud of you guys." Hey, what's up, Kevin? I ain't talking to you in a
What up,
minute.
man? What up with it?
Chris said, just like Mike saying, God ain't bringing us together on holidays, it's just traditions. Cherry Baby said, pagan religions existed long before Christianity. Some things Christians do will have something in common with paganism because it was there first. He said, me and my wife are watching together. Her comment isn't coming up, but she was trying to say that paganism has been around long before Christianity. Before Christianity, yes, because Christianity is technically a newer term. But if we're correlating it to, when we combine the Old Testament and the New Testament, there's nothing here before Christ, because Christ is everlasting. So if we're being technical, truthfully, what pagans are doing is they're creating everything to go against the eternal God. So because Christ was there in the beginning of Genesis, right? Anything after this, pagans are just creating stuff to go against the true God. So if we're really being technical, pagans are just copying and then perverting the goodness of what God created. So Christianity, even though the term Christianity wasn't here first, wasn't here, the root of Christianity, where it comes from, who we're honoring, who we're worshiping, who we're bowing down to, has been here since the beginning of time. So this was here first. If we're being technical, the term Christianity, yes, I agree. But who we are celebrating, worshiping, bowing down to, and who we are putting our trust in, he's been here since the beginning. So pagans, they are only able to do so because Christ was already here from the beginning. But I understand what you're saying. John laughing. Man, Mike, you need to fix your your camera. He said, I could care less about Christmas trees and Santa. Yeah, I mean, the Santa part, I agree on that part. Santa, I don't even tell my daughter, and I won't tell my son. He only one, so he don't really even really understand yet. But my daughter and my son are gonna understand. My daughter already understands. There is no such thing as Santa. Santa is not real. The person who gives you these gifts is through the power of Christ. So you better say thank you to Christ. That's just how I do it. We don't say there's a Santa or her gifts ain't from Santa. Her gifts are from God. That's how we tell her. That's how we teach her. I even had a lady. Me and my wife, we went to a little Christmas dinner. One of the ladies went up to my daughter and said, "What is Santa gonna get you for Christmas?" And my daughter said, "Santa's not real." And the lady was like, "Oh, yeah, Santa not real. Get up out her face." He said, "Silly nonsense of paganism. We celebrate the birth of Christ. Nothing to do with paganism." See, and here, I ain't got Mike. You need to get your mic back so I can. I mean, your camera back, because I to this point, this is what I was about to speak to. Where I'm about to go next. I don't just celebrate Christmas and Easter, but say Christmas first. I don't just celebrate Christmas because of the birth of Christ. I celebrate Christmas because of the temple of Christ and what he symbolizes. That's what we're celebrating. We all know he wasn't technically born on the day that we celebrate Christmas. We know this. But when I'm about to break it down as soon as Mike gets back on, why I celebrate Christmas and what it actually truly means. This is why I was bringing up the feast of. All right, can y'all hear me now? Dang, Mike, where you go, boy? Can y'all hear me? Put a comment if y'all can hear me. She said sound and camera. You got your thing on mute. Now let me get my charger for my mic. You want you got yourself muted.
Man, I had to jump out of everything and jump back in, bro. I tried it 3 times. You can hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I had to plug up my mic real quick
Right.
because my mic died, but I got it plugged up. All right, so back to what I was saying real quick. So
Yeah, that's the
we
devil
got
that was trying to stop me, man. The devil trying to stop me.
man. Hey, that's literally what Ty just said. My wife, she literally just said this.
Hey.
Look, she said, "Sound and camera, shake my head. Evil don't want us to get this good word."
Hey, man. Your mic muted again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, bet. Hopefully this mug don't go out. I tried to plug it up so it can charge. All right. Make sure the mud don't go out. All right. So that's what I was saying real quick.
Mm.
So what I was saying, the reason I was bringing this up, because now I'm about to go deep into this mud now. So the reason I was bringing this up is because I mentioned Judas and Maccabees, right? Judas and Maccabees was the reason Hanukkah became a thing, which means dedication.
Hey, we might need a part 2 on this, but go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Dedication, right?
Yeah, because I got a lot to say, but go ahead.
All right, so Judas and Maccabees, dedication, Hanukkah, right? And the purpose of Judas and Maccabees was he took back the temple of Jerusalem in 165 BC around December 25th of 165 BC. This is the reason that we have this, right? And keep in mind, he took back what?
The temple.
The temple. Yes, he took back the temple. Now, it goes back into my point of the reason why I say this is why I celebrate Christmas. John 2:19 through 21. And Jesus answered and said to them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. Then the Jews said, it has taken 46 years to build this temple, and you will raise it up in 3 days. But he was speaking of the temple of his body. And then I ain't gonna get to that part yet. Okay. So we have Judas Maccabee's temple. Then we have Jesus saying that the temple is going to going to be destroyed because the Jews are misusing the temple and they're going to destroy it, but he's going to build it back up in 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
So what temple is he talking about? Is Jesus talking about how's he going to physically build that temple that they said took 46 years in 3 days? Or is he not talking about a physical temple?
No, you're talking about him.
He's talking about him. He's talking about him. And this, now we have the two connections. Judas and Maccabees took back the temple, the physical temple, on December 25th. And then we have Jesus saying he is going to become the temple. Hence, why you switch Hanukkah from December 25th. And now you have December 25th being we celebrate the birth of Christ because the Christ became the temple. The December 25th in winter, we celebrate it because Jesus became the temple. The temple in which they once had under Judas Maccabees. We take it from Judas Maccabees. Thank you, Judas Maccabees. We needed the temple because the temple belongs to God. And now Jesus has come to take back the temple for himself. And he becomes the temple. December 25th is the body of Christ, which is why we celebrate his birth in the body. He is the temple. December 25th.
You said we celebrated. You
Yes.
talking about you and your family,
Yes.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we clash. Because yeah, I can speak for myself, like you can speak for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm here talking to the people. You know what I'm saying? I want them to know. Yes, we can celebrate the coming of Christ, the birth of Christ. We can celebrate what Christ stands for in Christmas, but that's not what we, not me and you, but as Christians as a whole are doing. That's not what Christmas is about. Like your understanding of Christmas and the way you celebrate it is a way I would celebrate it.
So then question is,
We
why
still,
don't you?
that's what I was about to say. We still kind of probably go back and forth about the gifts. That's why I say it should be a part 2 because I want to just not just Christmas, but I want to break down every holiday.
We can go to Easter. Easter, I told you, Easter is my nail in the coffin, bro. Easter is where I'm going. Is where
But I'm not finished with Christmas. That's my thing. I'm not. I'm not finished with Christmas, bro. I still want to know why you
Easter is
give.
a wrap.
I still want to know why you give, dude. I don't even know if you do the Christmas tree. I want to get into
We can. Oh,
all of that.
We can get in that because I already know where you're finna go with. You talking about Jeremiah 10?
I wasn't gonna do it. We don't even have to do that. That's the thing. We don't have to go there with that. You know what I'm saying? Because yes, like Jeremiah 10, they talk about the pagan tree.
No, that's not what they're talking about. That's not what
how they brought in the tree. It's something to do with the tree.
It talks about a tree, but that verse is misinterpreted. It's not talking about a Christmas tree, and I can prove it to you.
We're gonna have to prove that when we get there, because I'm still at the point where how we looking at it as why I don't celebrate Christmas and why you do.
Mm-hmm.
I would celebrate Christmas if it's about Christ. I would come to your Christmas party if we opening up a Bible, if we exchanging gifts, if we're just eating,
mm-hmm.
if we're here, and that's where I started with. When Christ isn't in Christmas anymore.
So show me, because if you're saying that, show me in the Bible where it says at the Passover they opened up their Torahs and talked about the Torah until they left. If that's your definition.
I have no idea what they did at the Passover.
Do you think that they all got together and opened up the Torah and then until they all read the Torah together and then went home?
I haven't, bro. I honestly couldn't tell you.
That's the debate. That's the problem. Because what you're saying is if we don't sit down and we're not opening up our Bibles and saying word line for line, word for word, speaking the
that's
word
not what I'm saying. No. Christ-centered. Colossians 3.
That I agree to that, Christ-centered, but it doesn't mean we got to go ahead.
Pull up Colossians 3.
Okay. Colossians 3.
This is my whole point of what we're doing.
Colossians 3 what?
17.
Colossians 3:17. What translation you use?
KJV. You can do let's make it simple. Do NIV.
NIV.
Let's get straight. Let's just clear
Oh,
cut and
if you use KJV, I use new KJV, so it'd be almost the same thing as the KJV.
I do KJV with Apocrypha. So that's
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I got them all. I use them all.
Okay. It says, "And whatever you do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him."
And whatever you do, that includes Christmas.
Yes, I
That
agree.
includes birthdays.
I
That
agree.
includes gatherings.
I
That
agree.
includes going to the club. If you're going to the club, you better include. I'm not going unless Jesus is included in that. If whatever I do in the club, in word or in deed, you know what I mean? It needs to be Christ-centered. So I don't have to physically pull out a Bible.
That's what I'm saying.
In the club.
That's what I'm saying.
But when we talking about Christmas, right?
Mhm.
We're not talking about Passover, what they did in the Passover. We're not talking about what they did in any of the feasts and dedications or none of that. Right now, we're talking about Christmas and what we're doing, not just me and you, but as Christians, you know what I'm saying? We all fall short of the glory. What we do as Christians on Christmas is not Christ-centered.
Based off of what?
Based off of from gift giving.
Basically, what I'm asking is, what I'm asking is, are you saying Christmas is objectively pagan or subjectively pagan? Meaning, are you saying for a fact Christmas is pagan, or are you saying Christmas could be pagan?
I'm saying both.
No, you can't say both, bro.
Let me explain. Let me explain. No. Let me explain.
Bro,
because how we're using it though. That's what I'm saying. As Christians, I don't care about what a pagan is doing. I don't care about if you call yourself a Christian. I care about how you celebrate Christmas.
Yes.
So would that be objective or subjective?
If you want me to be honest, you know what that kind of sounds like to me. What it sounds like to me is you are the moral lawgiver. You have the how can I say it, like
with the final say?
No, not the final say, more like that means you can choose what is deemed as this seem righteous, this seem not seem righteous. It's kind of like a in between. It's like a
no, because that I'll be called a Pharisee for that.
So that's what I'm asking. So what I'm saying is, what are you deeming it based off of? Do you see what I'm saying? What I'm arguing is, I don't understand what you're basing it off of. Are you basing it off of if they're saying they believe in Christ, if they believe in Christ, if they don't believe in Christ, if they give, if they don't give? What is making you say Christmas is pagan? Because of what action? Because of what doing? That's what I'm asking.
If you call yourself a Christian,
Mm-hmm.
you're called to be set apart. You don't celebrate Christmas how others celebrate Christmas. Right? You and your family are set apart because y'all don't thank Santa Claus.
No.
Your daughter thanks Jesus when she gets her gift.
Correct.
That's different from what another Christian in another household would do. I call it pagan on how you celebrate it. Because everything is pagan.
So then that means you're not saying that it is for a fact pagan. You're saying it could be.
Right. It can be. It can be pagan.
So you're
So
not saying it is, you're saying it could be.
right.
that,
But
that means
I'm
I'm right
saying
about
like
Christmas.
but I'm saying
Because you're not saying for a fact it is. You're saying it could be if.
are we talking about Christians though? If we're talking about Christians, or are we talking about people that's not
No,
that's of the world?
I'm strictly
It's
talking about.
pagan when it's people of the world because they're not celebrating how we're celebrating. So that's pagan. Christ isn't in it.
Yeah, but that's not what we're talking. I think that's where we're having a disconnect.
Yeah, I'm
You're
yeah,
talking
break
about
it down,
you're
please.
talking about Christmas being pagan because you're looking at the world. I'm talking about Christmas not being pagan because I'm looking at it from a Christian lens. I'm saying it can't be pagan because if you look at it from this perspective, it can't be. But you're saying it can be because the pagans look at it this way. So what you're arguing, I don't disagree if you're looking at it from the lens of a pagan. I'm looking at it from the lens of, for example, the reason I'm saying it the way I'm saying it is, let's say, for example, we have someone else that's watching this right now that is a Christian, right? And you go tell them, don't celebrate Christmas because Christmas is pagan. They're going to take that for your word. Literally, they're going to say, well, I'm a Christian, so therefore, if he's saying it's pagan, then I shouldn't celebrate it. But that's not what you're saying. You're saying that people who don't believe in Christ and they celebrate Christmas, they're celebrating falsehood and idolatry. Therefore, they're pagans.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that could steer a actual Christian into stop celebrating because they think it's pagan because they're looking at it from a perspective of am I doing it from a lens of a Christian or am I doing it from the lens of a pagan? So, for example, would you tell a Christian not to celebrate Christmas?
I would tell a Christian Colossians 3:17.
No, yes,
That's what I would tell
that ain't
them
the answer, bro.
because everything is pagan. Christmas is technically pagan because it's not of the Bible. It didn't come from the Bible. You think that's Christmas? You think that's what Christmas came from?
That's exactly where Christmas came from. Hanukkah, December 25th, when Judas Maccabees took back the temple of Jerusalem in 165 BC before Christ on December 25th. They adopted that after Christ because Christ became the temple himself, which is why in John he says, you can destroy this temple and I'm going to build it back up in 3 days, because he's embodying the temple. He now is the temple, no matter if you destroy it, keep it, therefore making it for example, it no longer will allow someone like a Greek empire, someone like how we have today a Russia or any of the China, any of these big powers can go to Jerusalem, right, and take over the temple. Because you know why? Jesus is saying, I am the temple, and you can never destroy the temple ever again. The temple can no longer be destroyed because I am the temple. I have resurrected and I am alive. This is what we're celebrating. We're celebrating Christ being the temple, no matter what location it's in, no matter what church you're in, no matter if you go to church, no matter if you don't go to church. The temple of Christ is everlasting. It's alive. Therefore, he became the temple that Judas of Maccabees took back on December 25th. This is what we're celebrating. He is the temple, no matter the location. So we can't physically go destroy it because you can't physically destroy Christ. This is what he's talking about.
I agree with all that. But how do we go from temple in the body of Christ to a Christmas and a Christmas tree? How can you say that's the same thing? How can you say this? What happened on December 25th, long time ago? And we need a background check on that December 25th thing as well. I don't too much.
I just gave it to you. Look, I'm going to show you again. Look. So this is Bible Gateway. This is authentic Bible, right? add back in footnote. Where did it go? I think I got too many on here now. It's not letting me pull it up. Let me take these off real quick. Okay, look. So I showed you Daniel. Daniel is talking about the abomination that causes desolation is set in place. What is set in place? He's speaking about an event that's going to happen, and it's going to take 1,290 days. And if you look this up, 1,290 days is exactly 3.5 years. Now let me go to Daniel 8:14. This is the footnotes. So this is scholars. This is not my opinion. This is scholars who are smarter than me, smarter than you, who have studied through and through. From when we talk about footnotes, footnotes are what the scholars study. So they study the Hebrew, they study the Greek, they actually decipher the Bible deeper than we can understand, because we can't read Hebrew or Aramaic or Greek. They can. So the footnotes that they give you on the explanation of Daniel 8:14 from the scholars, it says the event that marked the conclusion, this is from Daniel, the event that marked the conclusion of the period was the rededication of the temple in Jerusalem. This took place on December 25th, 165 BC, the Jewish celebration of Hanukkah. This is how they remember this victory. So they called it Hanukkah, which means dedication, which is how they came up with the feast of dedication. And then Jesus took that over when he became the temple. They reclaimed the temple. A Jewish man named Judas of Maccabees took the temple back in the wintertime, which is why even in John, look, this is why even in John, look, in the Feast of Dedication in Jerusalem, it was winter. So even John mentions that it was wintertime during this Feast of Dedication, which correlates. He didn't technically say it was December, but it correlates with the winter time. We know it has to be December, January, or February, right? We know it has to be one of those 3 days, one of those 3 months, but it correlates with the same time they say they're in the Feast of Dedication, which correlates to the same time that they made the dedication during Judas of Maccabees taking over Jerusalem, getting it back for the people that they took it back from the Greeks. And here again, the footnotes tell you right here, that is Hanukkah, or the Festival of Lights. The Greek name of the feast, I can't say that because that's in Greek. See, they even give you the actual Greek name because they know Greek, these scholars who give you the footnote. So we can correlate this. Look, the Feast of Dedication, also known as Hanukkah, was a feast celebrating the annually Maccabean victories of 165 to 164 BC, when Judas Maccabees drove out the Assyrians and rebuilt the altar and rededicated the temple on the 25th. That's where we get the date from. Not this what they're trying to do, not these stories of these Hebrew Israelites and all these people telling us it came from the Roman Empire and it was in 1486. No, it wasn't no 1400s, no 1500s, no 1600s. We're talking about 165 BC, before Christ, before the pagans tried to manipulate it. before they tried to manipulate it and twist it and say this is where it came from. It came from this. It came from that. No, this is authentic. They can't manipulate something that only. This is how I know. Pagans can only manipulate something that has already been established by God. They can't make up something on their own. Never in history have I ever seen pagans creating something of their own. No, they don't do this. What they do is they take something that God has already established and then they twist it.
Yeah,
So
that's Satan himself. Satan himself.
Exactly. So this correlates. Judas of Maccabees is 165 BC, and then you got people from the 1400s and 1500s saying, no, this is where it came from. No, you can only say that because you know the true root of it came way before your time, and you're trying to twist it.
Are you saying that Hanukkah is today's Christmas?
No, what I'm saying is the origin of Hanukkah came from the dedication, which was around the 25th, and they took that dedication, that celebration, and gave it to Christ instead, because Judas of Maccabees was the one. Hanukkah was made around Judas of Maccabees, which is why they called it a Maccabean victory. But they took that and said, no, we're no longer going to call it a Maccabean victory. We're
the
going
pagans.
to
Are you saying?
Huh?
You saying the pagans took that?
No.
Who are you saying took that?
The believers.
Okay.
The believers took it and said, we're no longer. So we have Christians. So after Christ resurrected, after Christ fulfilled the laws, now we have the people who are followers of Christ, the sheep of Christ. They say we're no longer going to call it. So now remember, we saw a shift when Christ came. We used to have the Judaism, and then we have Christian Jews, and they went like this because some of them still was like, no, there is no Son of God, right? Judaism. And then you have Christian Jews who say, I still believe in the Torah, but I also know that this is the Messiah. So then that's what created Christians, the Christian Jews, and it spread. Right?
Okay.
So we have the original. Who were the original disciples? Were they ethnic Jews or were they Christians?
They were Jews.
Exactly. So you have ethnic Jews who broke off and became Christian Jews, who then spread that gospel to the world, which we know today as Christians. So you have ethnic Jews. These are the people who said, we're going to call this no longer the Maccabean victories. We're going to call this Christmas because it's about Christ. Christ is the temple.
Okay. I can see where you would put those together. I can see how you took the Old Testament or what Maccabees did, and I can see how pagans can twist things and perverse things, and we'll really never know where things came from because they try to manipulate it in so many types of ways. And I can see how it can come from a Maccabean victory, that it makes sense, but from just let's take, all right, before I even say this, I only brought that up because we are talking about Christmas and what Christians do on Christmas. As a whole, as Christians, what they do, are they celebrating Jesus, giving thanks to the Father and giving him the glory on Christmas? You know what I'm saying? Like, is Christians doing that? Now, we can go back and forth about the date and if it's Christmas or not, but is Christians celebrating Christmas the right way?
as a whole, no, but it still
Right.
doesn't make it pagan.
It makes it pagan because it's perverse. Because your way of thinking has nothing to do with Jesus.
Yeah,
Not
but
you, but as a whole, as Christians, you made it pagan.
yeah, but saying that based off of that logic, saying that Christmas is pagan because the way that they're celebrating it makes it pagan, right? The celebration is the way that they celebrate it is different from the actual event. The event of Christmas is not pagan. The way they celebrate it is pagan. So you can't say it's pagan because of how they celebrate it. That's like people like, for example, that's like people who say, well, Jesus can't be a good God because look at the people who follow him. The people who follow him do bad, so therefore Jesus can't be good. No, that logic doesn't make sense. You can't say Jesus is bad just because people who say that they're Christians are do bad things. You can't say that, can you?
A pagan could say that.
No. I'm saying in reality, you can't actually like someone with a thinking brain, a smart person like you. You know for a fact you can't say that just because a person who says I follow Christ and they do bad does not mean Jesus is bad, right?
Right.
So same thing. Just because someone who celebrates Christmas the wrong way does not make Christmas bad. It means the person who's celebrating it is doing it wrong. But it doesn't mean the event is wrong. It means the person celebrating it is wrong. Right?
When you see commercials about Christmas, when you see all these ads about Christmas,
Mhm.
when you see what Christmas has turned into, this is far more than just a person, because you're taking Christ-like people, you're taking Christians out of holiness, out of righteousness.
Who is?
Whoever's advertising Christmas as Santa Claus, Rudolph, and elves and all that. Whoever's advertising.
What would we say? What would we say that is?
What do you mean?
We would say that just put it bluntly, the people that are doing this, right? We know that this is spiritual warfare because we know the world is a lot more. We always say it. We talk about it. The world is a lot more super than it is natural. So we know we're dealing with spirits. So these advertising and all this stuff, we know that this is the enemy trying to get people to turn.
Right.
That's what it is.
And they're winning.
No, they're not.
We have people like
You want to know how I know they're not winning?
we have people that are like me and you.
Mm-hmm.
But the majority, there's a lot of people going to hell. Way more than it is heaven.
I disagree. I think it's more people that's gonna go to heaven than there is hell.
Ooh, let me write that down. That's something we gotta talk about later on, man. We're gonna write that down because I got a few things we want to talk about.
I truly believe that. I truly believe it's gonna be more people in heaven than you think.
No, I believe it's gonna be a lot of people, but I think it's gonna be more people in hell than heaven.
I don't, because because the grace of God is so vast that we can't even understand it. Just like when that man who was literally next to him on that cross said, "Don't forget me when you come into your kingdom." And he said to him, "Truly I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise." He saved that man on his last breath, bro. That man was doomed for hell on his last breath. He was saved. And that alone gives me the faith that there will be more people saved that go to heaven than there will go to hell, because the enemy, the reason I know this to be true in my heart is because saying that there will be more people going to hell than heaven would mean that the enemy won. and I know for a fact that the enemy will never win.
You won't win.
So therefore, this means more people will end up in heaven than in hell, because if there's more, let's say for example, if there's 10 million people and 7,000 of them go to hell and 3,000 of them go to heaven, that means the enemy won based off of the numbers, right?
It's already written though. It's
Right,
already
yeah.
written.
You avoid the question, bro. You avoid the question.
I couldn't even, because it's already written how it's gonna go. So these people that's not going, they have it. We gotta stay on. Bro, we gotta stay on
We're
top.
gonna stay. We can
have to
do
stay on
this
top.
another. We can do this another time.
We gotta stay on top.
We can do that another time.
I say we should do a part 2 on this.
Yeah,
I
because
say we should do a part 2 on this because it's a lot of things that we gotta.
I
we
ain't
gotta
even get to
cover.
Easter yet, bro.
Bro, it's so much we gotta cover, bro.
I didn't realize it was gonna be this much.
Yeah,
I didn't even get to
didn't
Easter.
Yeah, I didn't know it was gonna be this much.
I didn't
But
get to Easter or Thanksgiving.
I don't want to cheat and look up or do my research on what we talked about here and then come back and say like, hey, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, bro, do it. You do whatever research you want to do, and it's not cheating. You equipping yourself. You are equipping yourself for battle. That's what you're doing. You are equipping yourself, and there's nothing cheating about equipping yourself. The only thing that's cheating is if you say, I don't want to do it. That means you don't want to talk about Christ. That's the only cheating thing you could do.
Yeah.
So if you want to research whatever you want to research and figure out what we talked about today, or figure out what you want to do, by all means, I'm okay with it. Because as we both know, being Christians, only thing that we know, there's only one truth. There's only one truth. So
I don't know if you down to end it here, but I want to say one last thing.
Yeah.
I feel the Christian community with these holidays, and we just want to talk Christmas tonight.
Okay.
The Christian community with Christmas has made Christmas about gift giving, has made it about what I can do, what luxury gift can I get you? What luxury gift can you get me? When the gift I'm coming to your Christmas party with the gift of Jesus. He was the gift given to us by God. We forget that during Christmas and make it this tradition of what's it called? The Secret Santas.
Yeah, Secret
You know what I'm saying? The like, what are we talking about here? What are we doing? We have these off days of Thanksgiving for a week, Christmas for a week and a half, and then going into New Year's. Nobody said nothing about Jesus except one day on that Sunday, Christmas Sunday, the Easter Sunday. Nothing was said. Nothing was read. We didn't sing a hymn. We didn't sing you know what I'm saying? We didn't give no praise. I like what you do. And we'll talk about it next time of how I celebrate. And because my way of celebrating is with everything, not just Christmas. I celebrate everything the same way. But I like how you instilled into your kids that it's Jesus that got you this gift, that brought you here. It's Jesus that helped me, that provided for me so I could provide for you.
Exactly.
That's keeping Jesus in it. That's keeping Christ in Christmas. And that's what I want us fellow Christians to keep doing, to keep spreading, to make sure that when you go to your friend's Christmas party, your family, your auntie's Christmas party, that you be the gift You be that light that Christ is to you, to remind people why we here. You're off today. Sure, you're off today. You got your off day. We're here celebrating, eating, having this day. But let's open this Bible up. Let me show you something. Did you know that you know what I'm saying?
Let me get into this Bible real quick. I got
Let me get into this Bible, bro.
That thick boy.
The big hey. let me show you this.
Yeah, get that
You know
word real quick.
Let me throw this at you one time. And that's all I'm saying. We got away from that. And that's what I think makes it pagan, because it's not Christ anymore.
Okay. I get what you're saying. My only disconnect, bro, is this. My only disconnect, because I agree with literally 99% of what you said. Just say the 1% I don't agree with is the word pagan. And I think it's because the way I'm viewing it is the event is not pagan. The way you practice the event is what can make it pagan. So, for example, if I celebrate Christmas and I give thanks to Christ and I say we are going to make it centered around Christ, therefore, there's no gift giving without thanking Christ. There's no eating without thanking Christ, and there's no leaving without thanking Christ. And I do it that way, it's not pagan.
So would you say? So would you say an atheist that does not believe, but he celebrates Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
You're saying it's not pagan because he does not believe, but how he celebrates is pagan.
How he celebrates is pagan, yes. But also this is another reason why I say that this is a very tread line, bro, is because a lot of times these atheists, for example, we use atheists, when they celebrate things, they don't even realize that they're actually celebrating something that is religious. They're like, I'm an atheist, but I celebrate Christmas. Why do you celebrate Christmas if you don't believe in Christ? So they're even actually participating in something that has Christ in the name, and they don't believe in him, but they're celebrating it. Because guess what? I believe even with these atheists, God is tugging on them a little bit.
For
like,
sure.
You say you don't believe, but look what you're doing. You celebrating something that's named after me. Tug, a little bit of tug, a little bit of tug, a little bit of tug, until they turn around and say, dang, this whole time I have been celebrating you. And I said I didn't believe you. And this whole time I actually did believe in you. I was just being dumb. That's what he's doing. So if we take some of these things away, like, Christmas, Easter, these things, people are actually, you would actually, in my opinion, take away some of the things that even these pagans are using to help them remember there is a Christ. These atheists that don't believe and they celebrate Christmas, I guarantee you they heard the name someone say, thank you, Jesus. I guarantee it. Every single Christmas, every single Thanksgiving, every single Easter, one of those atheists heard the name Christ.
For sure.
Because of those days.
For sure.
You see what I'm saying? So I don't think it's necessarily how they celebrate it is pagan, but they are hearing something and it's tugging on them. And that's what we're here for. That's why we're doing this. We're doing this because they may hear something that tug on them, where Jesus can grab them. And that's what, for some of these people, believe it or not, for some of these people, a Christmas, a Thanksgiving, or the right Easter may give them that last tug that they need. Maybe someone was about to commit, off themselves. Maybe someone was about to off themselves, and then they went to Thanksgiving and they got in touch with an old relative that they ain't seen in a while, and they gave them some game, and Christ saved them, even though they wasn't a believer. That's what we do it for. That's why he says the second greatest commandment is love the neighbor as yourself. Because when we get together as a whole, some way, somehow, even for people who don't believe, when you get together as a whole, you got 10 people. Half of them may not believe, half of them may believe. Guess what's going to happen? They clash in their beliefs. You're going to hear about Christ. Some way, somehow, you're going to have a conversation with an atheist. Some way, somehow. Someone who don't believe. Guess what? You just got to have a conversation with them just because y'all all in community. That's the reason why he says you're supposed to be in community, because you may save somebody who was doing pagan things. And they be like, oh, I'm going to do this. And you're like, hey, don't go to that club no more, bro. You're going to hurt yourself. Save them. They was doing pagan things, but guess what? They went to Christmas and you just gave them some game. Even for the people who don't believe, it worked. That's how powerful it is.
For sure. So before we go, I wanted to ask you this last question, because we need to find the definition, a good definition of pagan. Are you saying only a person's actions is pagan?
No, I'm saying who they worship.
Or what they worship.
Yep. Who or what they worship. In the Bible, a pagan is generally defined as an individual or a nation outside the covenant of God. Typically practicing polytheism, idolatry, or worshiping false gods rather than the creator. So by this biblical definition, it don't even say that if a person is celebrating Christmas, that is what makes him a pagan. It says what makes you a pagan is you're outside of the true creator. You're celebrating multiple gods, which is polytheism. You're celebrating idolatry, or you're worshiping false gods that is not the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Christmas.
Where you get Christmas from that? Where you get Christmas from that, bro?
Christ isn't in Christmas.
His name is in Christmas.
Not the name, but how it's portrayed, how it's pushed on us. It's pagan.
No. So when you see a pagan in the Bible, do the pagans go to the Jewish altar and they say, I don't believe in the for example, they don't go to the Jewish altar and say, I don't believe in the Jewish altar, but I'm gonna give you a sacrifice anyway. Here you go. You don't see that, do you? No, because they don't participate in anything that got the name Christ on it. They go celebrate Zeus. They say, this is Zeus Day. This is Zeusmas. They ain't gonna celebrate nothing that says Christ, nothing that says Christmas, nothing that says this is the celebration of his resurrection. They gonna celebrate Zeus Day. You saw when you just the festival of the solstice, they ain't had nothing to do with it, ain't say nothing about no Jesus in it at all. You can't even look and see if they would mention Jesus. A pagan ain't even rooted in Christ's name at all. That's what a real pagan is. A real pagan is someone ain't rooted in. You can't even find the name Christ in it. Can you find Christ in Zeus, in the name Zeus? No. Can you find Christ in the name Socrates? No. Can you find Christ in the name Hercules? No. In Poseidon? No. This is paganism. Nothing can be rooted in the true creator. Nothing. These people who are actually celebrating false gods, worshiping false God, there ain't a word in sight that can even mention Christ.
You know, I didn't know what Christ was until I was probably 16, 17. I didn't know what Christ was. Yeah. You know how many people know the name Jesus, but don't know the Christ in Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
not Christmas. Nobody's saying Christmas. You're saying Christmas. That's taking away Jesus already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just from my thinking, from what I knew when I grew up, if you showed me the word Christ, I would have said Christ. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have said and then I didn't know what the Christ was. You know how many people are the same way? You can pervert the name Christmas and not have Christ in it. That can be pagan because it's not saying Christ, it's saying Chris. You're saying Christmas. So yeah, you're right on how we celebrate it, but Christ is not in Christmas to the average Christian. And I'm gonna leave it. I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave it there for now because I feel like that really just kind of hit me when you was talking about it. How I remember being little and somebody showing me, my aunt showed me the word Christ, and I didn't know what that was. I was sitting there saying Christian. I kept saying Christian. You know what I'm saying?
But this is the reason why I brought up things like Judas Maccabees, brought up the festival of dedication, right? That's the reason why I brought this up, because of what you're saying. And the reason I brought that up and what you're saying correlates is because what you're saying is, it's not the fact that you celebrate Christmas. It's the fact that we are not taught how to celebrate Christmas. So we're asking each other, why do people celebrate Christmas the way they celebrate Christmas? Because in American culture, for example, we are not taught on how to properly celebrate Christmas. That is the issue. It's not Christmas. It's how we celebrate it is not taught properly, versus the Jews back then, when they celebrated Hanukkah, when they celebrate the Passover, when they celebrate tabernacles, when they do these traditions, guess what? Even their kids know what's going on. They know how to celebrate. They know what to get ready for. They know what they're supposed to wear. They know if they got to get trimmed. They know whatever they need to do to get ready. They know if they need to get some myrrh, some gold, some gifts to pass on, some olive oil, whatever the case may be, because they gave gifts too. They gave gold, they gave myrrh, they gave incense, they gave different gifts because it was a different time. These things back then, having a whole bunch of oil, having a whole bunch of myrrh, incense, these were gifts because it was expensive. So they gave gifts too. But guess what? They were taught from a little child how to do this. And that is the issue. It's not because we celebrate it. It's because we're not taught. We're not taught the right history. They were taught the right history. They were taught, hey, this is who brought us the Torah. This is who revealed this to us. This is who our Messiah is going to be. They were waiting on Jesus because the kids knew who Jesus was and knew who the Messiah was going to be because they were taught at a young age. Today in America, you could be 21 and still never be taught what a simple verse in the Bible means. Versus back then, by the time they was 18, I promise you they knew the ins and the outs of the Torah. By the time they was 18 versus today, you can't tell an 18-year-old what one verse in the Bible. That is the problem. It's not the celebration. It's the practice is not being taught properly. And I understand what you're saying. You're understanding it's pagan because the way they practice it. Well, the root lies in us Christians aren't teaching our kids how to celebrate it the right way. That's the issue. They're not giving their kids the foundation and say, hey, who is the Son of God? Who is this? What does this mean? They say, go figure it out. Let the teachers at the school teach you. That's the problem. It's not the celebration. It's not the event. It's us Christians aren't sitting our children down and saying, what does this mean? What does this mean to you? This is how we're going to celebrate. You need to say, thank you, Jesus. You need to say, thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am, because you honor your elders. Just like the Bible says, don't defy your parents. This is what we're not doing. We're not teaching. That's why I brought up Judas and Maccabees, because no one taught us, no pastor taught us Judas Maccabees was even a person. Name me a pastor you know that taught that. I don't know one.
I didn't know his first name until you said it.
That's what they don't teach us this. We don't understand anything of our history when it comes to Christianity. So we're wondering why we're celebrating Christmas this way in America, because nobody is teaching us anything. We gotta almost be on our deathbed in America to pick this thing up.
Right.
You don't, most Americans ain't 20 years old, 18 years old picking this mug up. They be 65. I'm not shaming old people. What I'm saying is this is the reality of what happens.
Yeah.
They wait until they get cancer. They wait until they got a ill disease. They wait until something happens, and then they say, now I'm 76 years old. I need to open this Bible. No.
Right.
My daughter is going to be better than me. She needs to learn now.
Yep.
She needs to learn now. So that way, by the time she my age, by the time she gets to 26, 27, by the time she's my age, she will be 65 times ahead of where I was at that age. That's what we're not doing. That's the issue. Not the celebration, not the Christmas. It's who is teaching you how to celebrate it. Because you have to ask yourself, well, these people are celebrating Christmas wrong. Who taught them how to celebrate the right way? Nobody. That's the problem.
100% agreed.
No one's teaching them how to do it the right way, the righteous way.
Right. 100% agreed. We still got conversations about if it's pagan or not. I'm gonna do a little more research because I agree with you. It's hard to not agree with what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? But I still have these reservations of, bro, I'm telling you, you can change my mind. Anybody can change my mind with a conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If we speaking, if we coming out the Bible with it, show me. You know what I mean? Let me hear it. I'm not too proud to, you know what I'm saying, be told wrong, and I'm not too proud to say, okay, yeah, you got it. That 100% right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But this is how I see it right now.
I'm the same way. I agree with you. Vice versa too.
Right. And this is how I'm still seeing it right now. And if part 2, you can show me something else. You know what I'm saying?
Part 2,
bring it, bro. Bring it. You know what I'm saying? Bring it.
I'm telling you, my second half is gonna be my best half.
Okay.
I'm throwing for 500 in the first quarter.
Hey, bring it, bro. Bring it, because I'm coming off the backboard with it, man. I'm still on the fence of everything is pagan.
Yeah.
Until you come up out of that. Until you come up out of that, you know what I mean? You come into the truth.
Yeah.
Until you understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
Understand what you're looking at. Understand that this movie is talking about, or this commercial is showing nothing but devil, a demon, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All of this is pagan until you open your eyes.
Otherwise.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say this thing. I'm gonna tell you right now. Do as much research as you can for our part 2, because my second half that I have with these holidays, because I'm going to use Easter as my pinpoint. And when I say that, a reason I'm saying that is because all of everything I'm going to use for these holidays is nothing but Bible verses. It's not one thing I'm going to use in my second half that's my ideology or my ideas. Is all coming straight from the Bible. Straight from the Bible. And we both know that the Bible is our authority. That's why I say my second half gonna be my best half, because I'm about to show you something that's real.
And I don't want to
It's there.
say, I don't want to just come at you and say like you're wrong here, you're wrong there, because everybody, I've seen a lot of interpretations of the Bible. God told me God was a woman one time, and showed me in the Bible like here you see they're talking about a mother and you can't have nothing without a mother, and God got to be a woman. And you know what I'm saying? Like so many people has so many different ways of what they think is right.
Well, I'm not about to do no perversion. I'm gonna say that right now.
I already know you. I know how you
I'm gonna
is,
tell you
bro.
this right now, because I'm only gonna say it, right? But I want you, literally, I'm not even joking. I don't care who watching, what it is. If you feel like I'm perverting the word, call me out on it and say, hey, I feel like you perverting it a little bit right there. Tell me, because I will not, and I do not want to pervert the word. I'm only going to use what the word actually says, not what I think it says. I'm going to use the word verbatim, line by line, and what it says on the word verbatim, not what I think the word says. So if I start going into what I think it says is blah, 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 I'm going to use what it's actually saying and tell you what it's actually saying means. That's it. Not, well, it could be this if you flip it this way and make it seem like this. No, I'm going to go verse by verse and show you what the word is saying. And before I even tell you what it means, I'm going to even do this. Before I even tell you what it means, I'm going to let you say, what do you think this is, what this is saying? So you can have your own thought process on, not just my thought process and me spilling it to you. I'm going to give you the verse. I'm going to say, all right, before I tell you what I think this is, what do you think? I'm going to do it that way, just so I don't pervert it at all.
Yeah.
And what I think, I want it to be literally verse by verse and let you see it for yourself.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm on the same level, man. I feel like I'm anybody. I'm never trying to erase and take away from what's in the Bible and add my own thing. Everybody know where that leads to. You know what that's gonna get you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's not what we trying to do here, man. We this is straight Bible talk.
Exactly. Let me read some comments real quick. In case it said Pope
Shout out to
Julius
White.
chose December 25th. It is commonly believed that in the church chose this date in an effort to adopt and absorb the traditions of the pagan festival. Exactly. Even if you were to take this, right? What she's saying, it's the date was chosen to basically take away from what the pagans are doing. We want to override what the pagans are doing, so we're going to implement Christ into this date because the pagans are abusing this date. So we want to absorb the pagan traditions by creating something on their own day, because that's what this is saying.
Yeah, no, that's what I got from what you were saying. That how Satan perverts everything, where they try to take everything. He has nothing new. Everything Satan brings in already happened, already done. God already did it. You're just changing in a different way. You're trying to slither your way in and remix it.
Exactly. And so they
I can see how that's how that can be what's the word? I can see how that'll be transcribed into what Christmas is. I don't know if it's correct. I don't know if it's true, but I can see that. Like I can't say like you're wrong, or you know what I'm saying. I can see how that can happen.
Yeah. He said the way we give is not Christ-like. Yeah. Yep. A lot of times it's just rooted in selfish.
Oh, you didn't give me nothing?
Yeah. I ain't gonna get you nothing. It's selfish. It's not selfless. It's not selfless, and we're supposed to be selfless, not selfish. She said, I believe generosity, kindness, love, and joy is Christ-like no matter how you express it. It doesn't have to be a gift, but if that's how you choose to express your love to a person, I believe it's the comment was too long. Oh, I believe it's Christ-like based on the intention and the position of the heart posture. This is the reason why Jesus said, you know, in the parable of the wheat and the tares, we try to pull up the wheats before the tares before it even become wheats, because if you look at wheats and tares, right, when they both grow, wheats and tares, when they both start to grow, they look very similar. Both of them look similar. A wheat looks like a tare in its prematurity, and a tare looks like a wheat in its prematurity. So if you try to pull up a wheat thinking it's a tare before it matures, you just pulled up a good seed. And he's telling you, don't pull up good seed because you don't know the heart posture of this seed. So pay attention to the wheat and the tares, because you might accidentally pull up a tare. I mean, you might accidentally pull up a wheat, and it was a wheat the whole time, thinking it was a tare.
Yeah.
That's why I believe, truthfully, God knows the heart, and we are supposed to judge people based off of their fruits, their character, their actions.
Christ-centered.
She said, "Me too." I'm wondering what she's saying "me too" about.
Right.
She said, "It seems like as though it's only pagan based on the heart posture of the person. It's a description of the event rather than the event itself."
It's a description of the event rather than the event itself. Like what we come here for.
Yeah, she's saying basically your heart posture determines what is actually being celebrated.
I agree, because you got to be Christ-centered. Your heart has to be in a position of of a Christ-like minded like posture, I guess I should say, to be somewhere, to
Yep,
be at an event.
exactly.
That was my, yeah. I don't know, man.
Is that advertising is the distraction from the threat to the devil's plan, which is the celebration of Christ. Oh, she was talking about when you was talking about earlier about the how they do the advertising and the marketing for the gifts and all that. She's saying that's a distraction because the devil believes that the threat of actually celebrating Christ is a problem for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to say a little Christmas? We're gonna table it, bro. We gotta do a part two.
Have
Gotta
to.
do a part two.
Have to. God willing, we will. We definitely will. Yeah, this was fun. This was
Yeah,
one
this is
about
a good one.
fasting.
Hey, this is a good one.
Yeah.
I actually like this style better.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
I like this. We got more coming, man. We got more coming.
Yes, sir. All right, we'll catch y'all on the next one.